Okay, I'm going to try to pick up some steam here. We just talked about number 28. I want to... Oh, I'll add a fun fact for you. The Gulf of Mexico gets 40% of the runoff from the entire landmass of the United States. The Mississippi River dumps into the Gulf of Mexico the runoff from 40% of the land area of the lower 48. Fun fact. Okay, number 29, I'm skipping double hold tankers and routing. Hopefully you had that. Double hold tankers and routing. Number 30 is about sediment, the twofold problem. I'm going to break this up and I'm going to list a bunch of stuff, so get ready to take notes. Twofold problem, because sediment is lost in one place, so that's the erosion problem. And two, because that sediment causes issues wherever it accumulates. So if the house from the top of the mountain falls, that's two problems. Something's lost where the house was, and then somebody got hurt where the house landed. Sediment is the loss and then the pollution. In your notes, you'll need 5 sources. I will rank them by volume. Oh. And sediment, by volume and mass, is the greatest water pollutant. Might want to write that down. The main pollutant in water is sediment. So it comes from 5 sources. Those are, in order of importance, number 1, logging. The primary source of sediment, suspended sediment solution in water is logging. Number 2, agriculture. All those farms, because we break up dirt, tillage, you get a lot of erosion. So a lot of sediment pollution comes from agriculture. That was number 2. Number 3, from construction. Think about all those machines, all that bare dirt. Again, it's like tillage. You're breaking it up into little pieces and everybody walks on it and the dust travels everywhere. Number 4, dirt roads. Talking in the United States, it's like, how much are we talking? But if you think globally, dirt roads are actually responsible for a lot of the sediment that comes from land. And finally, number 5 on that list is the mines. All those holes in the ground where you dig up a bunch of dirt and you make a big pile so you can get in the hole, you move it all out. That causes a lot of runoff. The 5 sources of sediment pollution are logging, agriculture, construction, dirt roads, and mines. Last, for number 30 here, you need the problems associated with sediment pollution. Again, I have 5. Number 1, sediment pollution clogs canals, ponds, drainage basins, rivers. It's like congestion in your lungs. It's hard to breathe. Likewise, it's hard for water to flow through land when sediment has constricted. What do you call that thing that you get in your arteries when you eat too much cholesterol or something? Okay, sediment clogs waterways. Number 2, it buries vegetation. In places where plant life is not accustomed to sediment, a bunch of extra sediment can be bad. Number 3, it makes water hotter. If you're used to clear water and now you've got sediment, it's basically darkened the water. There are more collisions between the sunlight and those particles, and so there's more heat gained in water when there's extra sediment in the water. It makes the water hotter. Number 4, sediment blocks sunlight. All that warming, because it's blocking sunlight, means there's less sunlight hitting the bottom. So when you have extra sediment, when sediment has become a pollution issue in an area that used to be clear and now gets murkier, you block sunlight, get less productivity. And number 5, there are a lot of aquatic organisms that lay their eggs just on the bottom. And if you drop a bunch of sediment, they get buried. Sediment smothers egg beds. I believe that was all in your book, so I'm going to move on because it's already been 5 minutes. But number 30, you had the largest water by pollutant by mass and volume, the 5 sources, and the 5 problems. Number 31, you must know this. It's a truism. I'll make sure I write it on the board. Oxides plus water makes acids. Any blah 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 oxide, like carbon dioxide, plus water makes acids. In the case of carbon dioxide plus water, you get carbonic acid. We'll talk in the next unit about nitric acid and sulfuric acid, which are made from nitrous oxides and sulfur oxides in the atmosphere. Fact you must know forever, on every AP test, it's a rule of science. Oxides plus water makes acids. When you make a hole in the ground, you get a lot of oxidation. So stuff that hasn't seen the air will react with the air when you dig it up. It's like, hey, look, I dug this up. Now it reacts with the air and it's oxidized. So whenever you make a hole in the ground, washing it away makes acid mine drainage. Any mining will create oxides because the stuff you dig out of the ground reacts with the atmosphere. Oxides, oxygen. It's been underground, no oxygen. You bring it out, oxygen, oxides. So when you make a hole in the ground, whatever comes out plus the rain is oxides plus water equals acids. Any hole in the ground, when water washes over it, will make acids downhill. It's called acid mine drainage. There's a really famous one, Tar Creek in Oklahoma. Study goal number 31. Number 32 is about point and non-point sources. A point source is identifiable as one place, like Jose's house. And a non-point source is like a general thing, like pollen washes off surfaces. There's not like a single place where all the pollen washes off. Pollen washes off everything. So pollen pollution in the water is non-point source because it's not coming from one point. It's coming from all over. It's a general source. As opposed to the wastewater treatment facility, that's a point source. You can draw it on a map, and that exact spot will have most of the pollution. So wastewater runoff is point source. Pollen is non-point source. Saltwater intrusions, what happens when you suck out groundwater near sea level? You suck out groundwater, so you get a cone of depression that salt water can flood into. Remind me on Thursday, I'll show you a diagram. Number 34, how septic tanks work. I'm going to take a break, copy that diagram on the whiteboard of number 34. The sub will give you 2 or 3 minutes, and then we'll start the next video.